In this daily drop, there's a new light in the house for testing. This will be episode 1 of a few, so let's go. Okay, everybody, enough of the talk having to do with algorithms and categories and all of that YouTube nonsense, even though you're watching this on YouTube. And today we're going to talk just briefly, because I've got to head out the door. I've been spending a lot of time today doing some testing with this, about this little fixture right here. This is the Aputure Storm 80C, and unless you've been living under a rock, if you're interested in lighting, then you've heard of this. You've heard of the 1000C, you've heard of the Storm 1200X, and B&H was kind enough to send this to me for a very short period of time, and I think that all I want to do in this particular episode is talk about what this light is, or what the promise of this light is. I have been working with Aputure's fixtures since almost the beginning in terms of especially their chip-on-board lights. And still behind me, the wall back there, there are original 120Ds, 120D Mark IIs. I gifted the 120T, the tungsten version, to my kids' school, and have been working with various fixtures from Aputure and Amarin over the years. Now, a couple of years ago, a colleague, somebody who I would consider a friend, Mr. Tim Kang, who is now the lead engineer at Aputure, came onboarded to the company, and along with the team, because it's not just Tim, in my mind, this is really the 1000C, the 1200X, the Storm family is really the fruits of his work and the rest of the engineering team at Aputure. It's a very unique fixture, because what we're looking at here with this particular unit is an 80-watt power delivery based light fixture. And what I mean by that is that, yes, you can, like I am right now, power this off of mains, but it is USB-C power delivery powered if you want it to be. So there's a port on the back. It's also, by the way, and I want to mention this in this episode, how you do firmware updates. So you've got a USB-C port right here, and you basically do firmware updates through this. You can power it through this, and this is the whole back of the unit. Incredibly small. Right now I have this burning at a 0.1% at 3200 Kelvin, and it comes with a couple of accessories. It's got a little reflector, which is obviously going to tighten the beam and the intensity of the light. It comes with a little globe diffuser. I'll show you those in tomorrow's episode. But there's a lot of technology in here. This basically has what they call the BLAIR engine, right? Blue, lime, amber, indigo, part of the secret sauce, and red. And then because this is the C, not the X version, it also has cyan. Well, it has green and cyan. So I think it's BLAIR plus GC. So green and cyan. And those two additional diodes inside of the light fixture are really what take it from being a white light fixture to a full color spectrum fixture. And there's a lot of technology and engineering sitting inside of this unit. But for me personally, what I'm most interested in with a fixture like this is always going to be white light. How accurate is the white light? And I started to do some tests. I'm going to get into this more with you tomorrow, but pretty remarkable overall. This is at 0.1%. I'm going pretty close to the fixture just so that I'm not getting any bleed from the other fixtures in here. So set at 3200 Kelvin right now. Just that one reading. This is reading at and remember, this is at 0.1%. 3199. Kelvin. So one Kelvin off. SSI for tungsten at 83. Those numbers will go up slightly when they'll go up actually quite a bit when you're at full intensity. It's just the nature of what happens. But 83 at 0.1%, kind of crazy. And then the DUV, 0.0016. So basically how far off the black body reading the white point is negligible. I mean, almost nothing. So incredibly impressive. And I can tell you that at different intensities, the readings, especially when you start going up, they're incremental, but they just get better. And we're usually using lights in that 25 to 100% range. But to get readings like this at 0.1% is very, very impressive. So I don't know. I don't have the light for that long. I don't know how much I'm going to get into, but what I want to do with tomorrow's episode is share some readings at 3200 and 5600 Kelvin, maybe at 6500 Kelvin as well, because I think that color temperature is very important when we're doing production, especially because so many of our screens are D65 in terms of white point, that there are a lot of times where I'm shooting at around 6500 Kelvin because I've got a device that's on camera that's in the frame that has a D65 white point. So I've talked about that in the past, but this is just sort of a little initial thing. But again, the firmware update, if you're going to get this or the Storm 1000C or any new light fixture, but I know that Tim and the team have done some pretty significant updates, I think in late January. So if you turn this on, I turned it on, my firmware was version 1.5. I updated to 1.7. And for the white light readings, slight tiny improvements, but it's the other stuff under the hood having to do with the color and how that's tuned that's really been updated. All right, that's what I've got for you today. Don't forget to, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.